What's happening, y'all? It's your man Flex, and welcome to another episode of the Flex Files. Episode number 2. Let's get into it, y'all. Shout out to all the new subs. Thank y'all for joining this channel. Shout out to all the new subscribers. Thank y'all so much. And shout out to the old ones as well, the recurring ones that have been here since day one. I love y'all. I will never, ever stop loving you. Right, let's get into it, man. Today's episode is going to be the dark side or sides of being a player, right? The dark truth of being a player, man. A lot of people don't really talk about that. A lot of people talk about, the fantasy of it, the idea of it. A lot of dudes really would never know what it's like to be a player like that or to have like multiple women. So when they hear stories about it and, the good parts of it, right? The fantasies of it, they get infatuated with the idea, right? And they try to live vicariously through men and podcasters that, say they players or say they P or, claim that they play. They probably is for real, but, they don't really talk about the real ones gonna tell you what come with it. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't, they just don't hit on it. So we're gonna get into it, right? Man, it's exhausting, y'all. Being a player is exhausted, or exhausting, I should say. Sorry, it's exhausting. Like I'm just keeping it in the buck. I'm just gonna be for real with you, right? Like, yeah, having multiple women at your beck and call, or different varieties of women, because a lot of men we wired to want to be with multiple women, right? But it's extremely exhausting. You gotta understand, being in a relationship with one woman is exhausting, right? It take a lot of work. Now, if you just like, just trying to like F around with women, this and that, you think that that's different, but it's not. And let me tell you something that, it's still exhausting, I should say, right? Very exhausting. And you know why? It's because you're dealing with different emotions. You're dealing with every woman not going to think the same way or react to things the same way. You know what I mean? One woman might be chill. She might be chill as fuck. She might be cool with, she ain't never no drama. You know what I mean? Another woman gonna be crazy. You know what I mean? Another woman gonna be toxic and evil. Another woman gonna come to your job. She'll come to your job and go off on you in front of your manager. Because she think that you screwing around with your coworker. So she gonna start drama at your job. Them to get your ass fired. Another woman knows your schedule by heart. She know when you gonna be at your crib, so she gonna pull up to your house. Because you ain't been reaching out to her, calling her, texting her back. You ain't text her back in about a day or 2 or 3. Right? And she gonna be like, nah, you thought you can get away from me, huh? Nah, you ain't gonna put it on me like that and you gonna think you get away. That ain't happening. You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of times that happens because a lot of dudes, they try to be a player without being real, keeping it P with a woman on what the intentions are, what this is, right? Real players know to keep it real with a woman, right? Look, we not dating. All we doing is messing around. That's it. You know what I mean? We ain't doing nothing else. And, a lot of dudes don't want to do that because they want to have their cake and eat it too. And they still want Shorty to be with them, by kind of leading her on and shit. Like, real players know that, look, keep it real with her. If she want to still rock with you after you being real with her, then that's P, that's player, right? And you cool with whatever her decision is. See, that is a little bit better. That eliminates some of the drama. It's still gonna probably be drama for real, because women can be drama. But if you real with them, ain't nothing on you for real, because you already told them what it was, right? So they get upset, they get mad, that's on them basically, You leave it for them to decide whether they want to deal with you or not. Not, lead them on. Instead of leading them on, making them think that you want something real with them when you don't. Right? Because you fucking them like that, but you screwing them like that. But, and so you can't get upset when they react a certain way, like they your woman, like they your shorty. And like I said, they come to your job, going in, like tweaking, crashing out. Because you have not set the right boundaries, you ain't keep it P. If you gotta lie to a woman to keep her, you ain't really P. And a lot of make-believe players do that. I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of the real definition of player, to be honest with you, a lot of dudes don't understand this. Charleston White actually said this low key, and I'm not claiming to be a Charleston White fan, but I remember him saying this because he was kind of comparing himself to Umar. He was saying Umar is a victim of, the kitty cat. You know what I mean? He just like to always be up under a shorty. He's always like to he's a victim of his flesh. Like Charleston White was like, I'm a player. Like, meaning I just like to play. I like to talk. I got, the gift of gab with a woman, whatever. I ain't really got to be with them. I ain't got to sleep with them. I'm just like kind of flirting with them, teasing them. That really is P. That really is player. And you kind of just choose what you want. And a lot of times, man, sometimes players just really, women think they players for real, but they really just be chilling. You know what I mean? They really just rather deal with one shorty, and it's cool because they know. Real players done been around a lot of women. So they know how exhausting it is, because you're dealing with so many different spirits and emotions, y'all. If you're trying to have about 5 different women on your roster, you got to deal with each different emotion, because, it's very rare that all of those women, I mean, you can have a type of women that you like and vibe with. The vibes are similar. Each woman has similar vibes. But believe it or not, y'all, it's not going to be like that. You know what I mean? Like, some women, they respond differently when you do them wrong, right? And it gets, and then also to give your energy to a different group of women is time consuming. And now you got to figure out, okay, this day I'm gonna be with shorty right here, number 1. Number 2, I make some time. And number 3, and then, shit, don't let it be to where it's going to be multiple women a day. That right there, I'm going to be for real, y'all. That's really where dudes can't handle that, bro. A lot of dudes shouldn't even try to do this, man. Because, I mean, look, most of the time you got to pay out. You know what I mean? Unless you a dude that you ain't got to do that with. I mean, you ain't got to do that with women, right? But a lot of y'all ain't got it like that. A lot of dudes really ain't got it like that. You know what I mean? To where women just want to be around you and spend time with you type thing. Like, bro, you're investing a lot of time. You either invested time, money, your energy. You can't get that back when you could be focusing on doing other stuff, like building your name, building who you are. You know what I mean? Your purpose, your vision in life, right? I mean, do I think that it kind of be cool if a lot of dudes experience that in a way? I think it's not that necessary, to be honest. I do think that men should see how much of a waste of time it is. Because when you start to get to a point where you in your 30s and your 40s, and especially if you done this in your 20s for about 10 years straight, it was a waste of time. None of these women really mattered, to be honest. If they want like a girlfriend or, potentially gonna be your wife, it was a waste of time. Like, you can't get that time back. You know what I mean? Only thing you got to show for that is episodes of trauma, episodes of drama, trauma and drama, toxicity, maybe a tire slashed, a drink thrown in your face, a pot thrown on your head, arguments at the restaurant because she confused, like, and she's frustrated with you, even though she said she was cool, that y'all were just kicking it and y'all won't being exclusive, but now she's wondering, why don't you want to settle down? I done wasted so much time with you. And I don't think I ain't see that girl on your phone. Like, y'all, I'm telling you, man, and you gonna have a slip up. You gonna have a slip up. You gonna have a slip up, or you gonna get burnt, or what, bro? You gotta, like, a lot of y'all really ain't built for that, and you don't need it. It's not necessary. It's really not necessary to have a deep roster. Now, what I will say is this, when it comes to having a roster, right? Because I know I'm talking about the dark side, the dark truth of it. I don't think it's an issue to vet different options, have different options, just in case something don't work out, right? And at that point, you probably intentional about trying to find a woman. But a lot of times when you're trying to have multiple women, it skews your view on relationships. Let me say that again. It skews your views on relationship. And it's kind of like, because you're giving yourself to different people, you kind of start to be jaded on what is really real, what really matters in a relationship, or true love. What is really true love? Are these multiple women going to give you that? And you have to think about that, and you get to a point where you kind of like, you know what I mean, you done, you know what I mean, you've been freaking all 4 or 5 of them throughout the whole week, right? Or even 2 weeks. Let's say about 4 or 5 of them, you've been with all of them in a matter of a week or 2, right? You done got it in with all of them. And you kind of get to a point, I don't want to call it like brain rot. I don't want to call it brain rot. But it's kind of like a form of it. It's kind of like it's just everything, you just get desensitized to it. And you just sitting there like, yo, am I not tired of this shit yet? Like, what is the purpose of this, of all of this, of it all? Like, and then you got to start asking yourself the question, like, am I really capable of real love? Like, when you dealing with multiple women like that, and you really have done that, you kind of lose the capability of dealing with, of being able to deal with real love. You probably don't even really, you kind of start to get to a point where it's like, because you're so jaded, you become so jaded to what the idea of real love is. And you kind of start to ask yourself the question, and you don't know for sure if you were even meant for it. I'm telling you out of experience, y'all. I'm really telling you I'm telling you in this way out of real experience, right? And other people may look at me and be like, man, he don't know what he's talking about, well, whatever. And that's fine, bro. We all can't be the same, y'all. We got different experiences, different perspectives of things. But, for me, taking from somebody that understanding in that way is like, okay, what really is real love? What is the definition of that to me? And it's easy to become jaded when you juggling multiple women, because again, you're giving a lot of yourself to different women. That's just how it is, y'all. You can't really avoid that. You can be as enlightened as you want to be, as mature, as grown, as whatever as you want to be. But when you're doing that, it's kind of hard to avoid that pitfall of being jaded. I keep using the term jaded because I feel like it's very fitting. Because like when you're dealing with different spirits and different emotions of women, you get exhausted. And it's like, okay, I don't know what's real anymore. And then you kind of just got to take a break. You kind of got to chill. You got to be like, yo, what do I even want for real? Right? And then you get back at it again on the rotation, the roster. You get right back at it. You just had to take a little break. But nah, look, the thing is, like I said, y'all, the thing is, you know, it's not, it's something that most dudes really can't handle. They think they can, but they really can't. You know what I mean? But if you're going to be a P, a real P really is real with the women that they're involved with and the intentions. It's less drama that way, because it's always going to be drama when you're not real. That's another dark truth about it. It's always going to be drama, y'all. It's always going to be drama. It's always going to be chaos. But that jaded thing is a real thing, because you've given yourself to so many women and haven't really gotten anything back in return. And you start to wonder, and that's where you start to wonder what really is the point of all of this. You know, I mean, most dudes, and some dudes, they cool with doing that their whole life. But even still, they slow down eventually. They slow down. They may not ever get married, but they gonna slow down. Because you got to. You're gonna get older, bro. You're gonna get older, like, you know, you can't, it's like, you know what I mean? And then some dudes, they meant to be in a relationship. They meant to be married. And you can tell them the dudes that are married, right? Never experienced being a player, or maybe they have, but some of them ain't. And they don't want that. Because they probably ain't never see a point in it, because there really ain't no point like that. It's fun. It's fun having different varieties of women that you always going to have company with. They're always going to keep you company, which is not a bad thing. And you learn different kinds of women. You get very experienced with women when you do that. Sure. You get very experienced. You start to develop a certain perspective. And this is the last thing I'm going to say, because most real players, they really do appreciate women. They love being around women. Like, they respect women. Most of them do. That's why real players, they actually going to tell what it is to the women that they're dealing with. They're not going to drag them around and lead them on, because they actually respect women. Like, you know what I mean? So they're going to do at least that. Tell them the truth. I ain't trying to date. I ain't trying to be with you like that, shorty. I just want to fuck around, this and that. I just want to F around, whatever. I'm trying to stop cursing. Pray for me on that journey. But nah, like, they just want to kind of like be with different women, this and that, and they respect, and they gonna let it be known that, right? They just like being around feminine energy. You know what I mean? So some dudes is like that, but, you know, it's a gift and a curse. It come with a lot. You know, come with a lot of drama, come with a lot of emotions, and a lot of life, you know, that's being brought out of you. And nothing to give you in return. So, hey, the dark truths of being a player. Hey, I hope this helps somebody. You know what I mean? Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. Let me know your thoughts. You know what I mean? Shout out to all the subscribers. Thank y'all so much. Make sure to click that subscribe button below so you know when I post new videos. All right. And give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. All right. Again, it's your man Flex. And this was another episode of the Flex Files. I'm out. Peace.